Okay, welcome everybody to Ignite Session 12. We're following up Session 11. That was follow-up with leads. So today we're going to be getting into strength and relationships. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Trystan Hayes. I'm an MCA. I've been with Keller Williams Commonwealth for about 3 years now. I just did Session 4, and that was define your value proposition. So excited to get into strengthen your relationships. Go ahead and share these slide decks so that we can follow along as we're going. Let's get into it. Okay, so you can see we're now in section 3 of Ignite, where we're getting into lead follow-up. Like I said yesterday, you should have heard about following up with your leads, and today we're going to focus particularly on strengthening relationship with those leads. So any group work that's in here, I'm going to go ahead and skip. If you want to take time to fill out your books, just feel free to pause. Just because it's an online format, I'm just recording the class. There won't be any open discussion on this. Okay, on today's agenda, by the end of the day today, you should be able to apply follow-up principles for leads to contacts, create a 36-touch plan, design and use MOFR messages that generate interest, and develop a strategy to grow the number of contacts in your database. To start thinking about what you'll learn today, let's consider what questions you might have. Now, again, this is kind of a role play in the room, so I'm going to glaze over this part. But you can see these are the 3 things we're going to do. We've got our recaps and ahas. I'll probably skip over that piece, and then I'll invite you to jump into your daily success systems as well. Okay, so we're going to start with establish the mindset. So again, if we look at Shift by Gary Keller, know that growth comes from clarity, priorities, and focused action. It's as simple as you have to be very aware of where you're at, where you want to go in order to get there. Clarity is power. We always talk about that in bold. So lead versus contact. Yesterday, we worked on the tools to convert leads. As a reminder, we prospect and market to bring leads and contacts into our database. If you're not familiar with the difference in a lead and a contact, leads are people you have contact information for, and you have a way to follow up with them. Contacts are people who you know and have a reciprocal conversation. You can have a reciprocal conversation with them. These are people who expect to hear from you, and they know who you are and that you're an agent who can help them with their real estate needs. So again, lead could just be a list of leads, not names, phone numbers, emails. That's lead. Contact is going to be more of like friends and family, your sphere, past clients, people who you have some sort of relationship with, and they're familiar with you. You guys have probably talked a time or two before. Ultimately, we want all leads to move into contacts so that you have a full contact database. So what makes the difference between leads and contacts important, right? With a lead, we have the person's name and a way to contact with them and a way to contact them. With a contact, we know more about them because we have that communication and we have that relationship that's pre-existing. So it's less about having to build the relationship and more about cultivating it and maintaining it. And this is just the lead funnel. You guys have probably seen this a couple of times by now. And we're going to spend most of today in this relationship management section. You can see here's kind of the definitions I gave you for lead versus contact. So again, this is a top KW agent Red Talks, which is KW's kind of version of TED Talks. They're snips. They're very great, very impactful, and they're super short. So if you're interested in that, you can find them on YouTube. Focus on building relationships and take market share, and especially in this market. So if we go look at the Shift book, and you go look at I don't know the actual tactic number, but basically in this market, if you're able to maintain or grow your market share, when the market softens and expands, you will exponentially grow with the market. We all intend to be successful as real estate professionals. Success is built on relationships. And then, as I said, as one top agent said, here's what we've got. All right, so we're going to start with mindset. So let's establish a mindset around follow-up with our contacts. If your database is a garden, then your leads are the seeds, your contacts are the plants, and the conversations your harvest. So again, I mentioned earlier, we want all leads to be contact. We want all seeds to make their way to plants that eventually yield commissions, deals, referrals, all of those great things. As Gary says in Shift, this is on page 81, once you meet your new contacts, you either do business with them immediately or you don't. Either way, once you met with them, you put them in your database and stay in touch with them forever, right? And this is, if we want to tie this into our Y4 CQTs, second C, commitment in all things. We're staying committed to the client and staying within emotional proximity of our contacts. There's some stats I think I shared in the first session that talked about 81% or something would use the same real estate agent they did their last transaction with, but over half of them can't remember their name. So we want to basically take that factor out, make sure we're staying top of mind. And this is a great example of it. Just make sure you're staying committed to the contacts. So we kind of talked about establishing mindset. It was very brief, but the biggest thing is this is important. It's getting clarity that we need to make sure we're capturing leads, taking those leads to contacts, and taking those contacts to conversations. Now, and as we just talked about, identifying the goals is what we're going to get into and why it's super important. In order to be successful at nurturing relationships, though, we must understand our goals. So this is the lead follow-up. If you take a look at this graph and compare it to the wave graph, where every person in your database is on the wave of being ready to buy. In this graph, we have a lead generation phase on the left, where you are gathering and storing leads rather quickly. In fact, you can generate leads in just a couple of days or weeks. So that's going to be your left section. On the right end of the graph, you're busy with the transaction process, which can last 2 weeks to 2 months to up to 2 years if you have a new build situation. Now, the lead follow-up phase, if we look at it and we say how long or how many years can it be on average in the lead follow-up phase? There's no really right answer. It could be anywhere between a year to 10 years. I know many agents who follow up with leads for 3, 4, maybe 5 years before they actually got them under contract. It's a perfect example of commitment to the client. Also, why lead follow-up is so important. So lead follow-up implies lead conversation as well. We're always querying whether the person is ready to meet for a real estate need. Lead follow-up plus lead conversation is the path to a signed contract and a transaction. Of course, leads who express an immediate interest in your services are more likely to get ready to convert to an appointment right away. Those are the golden leads. So identifying our goals. Our goal from session 11 was to convert leads to appointments, and we learned that not every lead is able, willing, and ready to meet. When we encounter folks who are not ready for the appointment, we use follow-up to stay in contact with them until they are ready for the appointment. So if you had to guess, how many times have you agreed to be in someone's database when you are not ready to make a purchase? Include all the times you've signed up for text, discount codes, and whatnot. And so considering this, just way too far. Okay. Considering this, how many of you, and again, this is more of a real play in the room, by show of hands, who's eventually going to buy after receiving so many messages from company or person. It's the same concept for retail. You get on the list, they're going to keep following up with you. They're going to poke you, say, look, here's some deals we're running. Here's what's hot. Here's what's moving. And eventually, when you're ready, you're top of mind, right? So convert contacts to close business. Step 2 of identify the goals. We talked about mind share before and how important it is converting leads to contacts and contacts to appointments. Take a look at these stats. So if we look at the NAR stats, we can see that 74 to 75% of all buyers and sellers spoke with just one agent before choosing them to represent the client. Only 15% of them even considered more than one agent. What does that tell us? It tells us that we have to be top of mind so that when buyers and sellers think of real estate, they think of you. That's the definition of mind share. And you need to be the agent that they're interviewing first so that you can be in that 74, 75% capture rate from the client. If you remember an earlier conversation on how real estate databases each of your leads and contacts are in, or earlier discussion of how many real estate databases you're in, think about it. How many different real estate databases are you in? Have you ever visited the competitor's site and then started getting emails, texts, and calls? That means you're probably in their database. So just like your sphere of influence and along everyone else in your database, they should be in yours. If they're visiting your website, if they're thinking about if they're shopping other websites, we want them to be in yours. So it naturally follows the goal number 2 of nurturing our relationships with our contacts is to stay top of mind. The data shows that most sellers and buyers only interview one agent before choosing to work with someone else. That means if I'm not the first thing that comes to mind when a contact thinks about real estate, I'm probably not who they're going to work with when they're ready to transact. All right, going to 3. Let me see here. Oh, closed out the share. Sorry. All right. Going back to number 3, leverage mindshare for referral business. We talked about this before. Who doesn't love referral business? I'm not going to say it's free transactions because obviously you did a great job the first time around, but it's kind of taking the heat of trying to generate more clients off of you and letting your clients tell your success story to their friends and family and anybody else. Our clients never stop being contacts. We continue to nurture our relationships with them after the transaction to remain in emotional proximity and to help them share our value proposition. Right? And so how many, if I could challenge you to think, how often are you looking or asking a friend for something new, whether it's a new physical trainer, a new hairstylist, tailor, new restaurants to try? That's the that kind of tells you how much we're looking for referrals from other people. So just like you're looking for services like that, your friends and their friends are saying, hey, I'm entertaining the idea of real estate buying or selling. Do you have anybody who you could recommend that you know firsthand has done a great job, right? So for important purchases of services and goods, it's natural to seek personal recommendations. Your contacts, especially the ones you have bought or sold with, are a great source of future leads. If you are top of mind because you continue to follow up and give them amazing customer service, they will think of you first when somebody asks them for real estate advice. In fact, in 2021, NAR found that 47% of buyers who used an agent were referred to them by a friend, neighbor, or relative. That number jumps to 57% for first-time home buyers. You should be that recommendation. So these are, again, 1, 2, and 3 for identifying the goals. So jumping to ahas. I'm going to skip over this part just because it's not really two-way dialogue here. But we're going to get into devising the plan. So at this point, we've established the mindset. We've identified the goals. Now we're going to devise the plan. So you already know how important lead follow-up is and how you can use the 19 to connect and the 1 to submit plans to connect with leads from sessions 10 and 11. Now let's talk about how you can use the 36 to convert plan to stay in contact long-term and gain the benefit of clients and referrals from your database. All right, we have the touch plans. And just a reminder that you've already created a foundation for your 36 to convert, and you've designed the 19 to connect touch plan in session 11. If you did not get to do that, you can jump on our YouTube and view session 11 with, I think Tara was the one who taught it, and go ahead and develop your personalized plan of what you see right here on the screen. So your 36 to convert plan is a comprehensive program with different layers of input. It contains a mixture of phone calls, newsletters, events, market updates, home valuations, and other value-based products. The trick is to find what people are in your market. The trick is to find what people are in your market value and design your touches to match what they value. How will you know what your contacts value? So to consider, how would you know? Agents use the 4 telephone calls to both deepen relationships and gather information on what messages are connecting in the market at the moment. The response rate you get to different messages, content, provides the information you need to know on what is working and what people are ignoring so that you can use these in your marketing campaign. So notice when you call a friend, family member, somebody from your sphere and just check in, there's some information they may be more willing to receive, or they're excited to receive. And there's some they're like, I've seen that, or I'm not too worried about that. That for you is a gauge on, okay, this specific conversation or topic is landing well with my clientele, or this one may not. Now it's different for everybody, which is why we talk about knowing your area, your market, and being a professional master of the market. Now notice the overlap in the touches between 19 to connect and 36 to convert touch points. The 4 quarterly calls in your 19 to connect can be the same quarterly calls you use in your 36 to convert. If you already have somebody on a smart plan to receive 2 promotional direct mail touches from your 19 connect, you can just add 2 more to your existing to get to the 4 promotional direct mail touches in the 36 convert touch plan. We're looking right here. You can see here's our 4 quarterly, same thing here, 2 touches, and then we want to get them to 4 in that 36. So crafting the message. Our messages for the 36 touches should do 2 things. 1, they should build the connection to the contact by getting to know their needs and wants. And 2, it should elicit a response from the contact that puts you into dialogue with them as quickly as possible. We call messages that do the latter piece of that a MOFR. And MOFR stands for make offer for immediate response. So if we go back and look at the 6 connection questions that were covered in session 11, these are the 6. 1, who are they? 2, what do they want or what do they need to do? 3, where do they want or need to do it? 4, why? And again, I cannot stress this enough because I taught session 4, a needs analysis for your client to understand their needs in the real estate transaction and what is most important to them is crucial to you acting as the best fiduciary and professional during their real estate transaction. 5, how do they want or need to do it? Or sorry, when do they want to need to do it? And then 6, how do they plan to do it? Those 6 questions are the 6 connection questions we covered in session 11. So a MOFR can be a direct offer, one designed to get a response from somebody who's willing or able and ready to buy or sell right now, but it can also be an indirect offer. Message that is not directly about buying or selling. However, it does help build that relationship with the contact. So I'll go ahead and give a couple of examples around real estate related MOFRs. Some of these I've seen be used in the office by our agents. And then you can get more creative with yours as well in your workbook. So if we're coming at it from the potential seller side, we're trying to prospect sellers. I've seen a lot of people that go the kind of the uncertainty MOFR is what we call it. It's get a no strings equity checkup within 24 hours. I'll show you exactly how much tax-free cash you'd walk away with if you sold today based on the based on real-time Lexington sales data, not assessed. And so why this works is it directly counters the unreliable online estimators that we see like Zillow that everybody plugs their home into and is like, I can get X amount of money out. And it focuses on the seller's ultimate goal, which is their net profit. And then the 24-hour timeline creates urgency for the consumer to reach back out to you so that you can cultivate that conversation. So that's a great example of a potential seller MOFR. If we want to go to the buy side, we can talk about inventory. We can talk about affordability because I think we see the market moving back towards equilibrium. The inventory is the one I'm going to talk about. So if you're tired of losing out homes that you find on Zillow, get free access to my Lexington off-market list, a weekly updated list of properties for sale, not available to the general public. Again, if you all are not familiar, you can have what are called pocket listings and internal listings, and there are many brokerages that hold these. And so these are listings that will never hit the open market, but they are actively for sale within each brokerage. So why this works is it creates exclusivity and a competitive advantage in a tight market, which is highly appealing to frustrated buyers who feel like they've seen everything online and just can't get that right house. So that's a great one. Now understand, if you don't have those internal listings, or that's something your brokerage does not offer, we can go the affordability route and say, don't let interest rates sideline your dreams. Get my free list of Lexington area homes with assumable low interest mortgages or unique seller financing opportunities. Respond now for this week's list. Here's what you'll notice. Here's the trend. There's some sort of exclusivity or some sort of value add that's particular to you. And there's always a respond now for this week's list. Email me back to see this, or hit me back in the next 24 hours to get this. We're building some sort of exclusivity, and that's what makes the move for the offer for immediate response. So why that last one works is it provides a specific, tangible solution to the problem of high borrowing costs. But understand that assumable mortgages and seller financing are a little bit more particular. And if you aren't familiar navigating those, that would probably be a harder mover to send out. Now, you could get tons of different options. I'm sure you could plug this into ChatGPT and they could give you some options. I know KW has a source where it gives you different prompts for your marketing and gives you different options for mofers, all of those things. We have all of them for you. So if you're looking for those and you want a resource for that, just reach out. We'd love to help you out. Okay. So back to crafting the message. So you've seen a couple of different mofers. I think actually session 9 talked a little bit about message and method. So if we talk about mofer messages that were brought up with message and method, you can see some examples I've got from session 9. This awesome home just came on the market. If you're looking for a home in this neighborhood, call me right away, right? It's prompting response. Interest rates are the lowest ever. This is an example. They're not the lowest ever. However, they are still below average. Interest rates are the lowest ever. If you're considering buying now or thinking about refinancing, I can put you in touch with lenders who can work with you. Putting the value out there, also talking about what your value is and how you can help get them to that value. Last one, do you know about the prices of homes in your neighborhood or any area of town? I've got just a report for you. Call, text, or visit my website to sign up. Again, I cannot reiterate enough. These all prompt responses. That's why these work. They build this sense of urgency to the client. They are going to reach out to you to get this value. So we're going to look at developing your 36 touch plan. So turn to develop your 36 touch plan in your participant guide. We're going to take 10 minutes for you to work, and I'll probably just skip over this. You can pause the video if you need to, for you to work alone or with a partner, write down your 36 touch plan. Do share some that have worked well with you. If you're looking for some that have worked for us or for people on leadership team or for some of our top agents, I'd love to get that to you. Just reach out to me. My email is just TrystanHayes@kw.com. Reach out anytime. So if you want to go ahead and take a time to develop yours, go ahead and pause here. Otherwise, I'm going to keep going. So goal setting to the now. If you have 200 contacts in your database and you put them all on a 36 touch plan, how many touches is that per year? Plug in a calculator if you like. I can tell you the answer. It's about 7,200. So if you have 200 contacts in your database, that's 7,200 in touches per year. Obviously, if you have more, you're going to see many more. That might feel exciting to some of you, might feel overwhelming to others. Both responses are great. And the one thing, Gary Keller and Jay Papazian explain that we need to have a big why and to think big. They also share that the way to get there is to break down our someday goals into smaller and smaller goals until we get to the daily goal and right now goal. They call this goal setting to the now. And it's just taking these thoughts, ideas, and these I'd love to be here eventually and putting it right in front of us in a daily format where you can see the growth. For our 36 to convert, we are already starting at the 1 year goal. We intend to touch every contact in our database at least 36 times in the next year. Stay motivated, keep up with your touches. Remember that every touch is getting you closer to your someday goal and feeds your big why. These 7,200 touches are how you get to your someday goal. When you have a 1 year goal, and we know we need to break that down by month, week, and day to be able to set a goal to now. Turn to goal setting to the now in your participant guide. So if we go through this activity, number one, start with how many people are in your database. Start with how many people of your database are contacts, people you have permission to have a two-way conversation with. And if it's important to you, you can mark them as leads and leave everybody else as a contact, and that's a really great way to differentiate that. If you're not familiar with that, I'd recommend just connecting with anybody on the leadership team on how to further utilize command and its database pieces. Number two, multiply the number of contacts by 4 to calculate how many telephone calls you will make this year with your contacts. So if I were to assume just 200, because we want everybody to have 200 contacts in their database, we're looking at 800 calls so far. Divide the total number of telephone calls by 12 for the number of calls you need to make each month. And again, this is us getting very granular so we can get ultimate clarity on what our goal is. Divide the number of contacts per month by 4 to get how many phone calls you should be making a week. So I got 66 phone calls a month. If I divide that by 4, I'm getting 16.6. So 17 phone calls a week is what I'm getting. And then assuming you're going to be working 5 days a week, we're going to go ahead and divide 17 by 5 to get how many phone calls you should be making each day to contact your entire database 4 times a year. That gets me a 3.3. I'm going to round to 4 because you can't make 3.3 calls. 4 calls a day. 4 calls a day, and you will have effectively contacted everybody in your phone, with 200 as my basis, 4 times a year. Takes a massive overarching goal and makes it super clear. I'll go ahead and also add, if you go into command, put all of your database in there, and it's free and it's easy. It'll extract it all from your phone and it'll put it in there. You can set a smart plan and stagger so that it will actually load who to call into your to-do list, and you can check them off and it logs that activity for you. It's fairly simple. It doesn't do anything automatically on its own outside of just remind you, hey, call this many people a day. And it'll load them in there one day at a time. And it will effectively take that manual tracking off of you so that you can just make the calls and move on. You've got smart plans. So just a reminder that you can leverage tools like smart plans and Twilio in command to make touch plans consistent and less time intensive. Smart plans typically operate on the email. If you want to go the text route, you can connect Twilio to your command in order to send text out to clients through command. You can find helpful links on how to use smart plans, set up your Twilio account, tag your contacts in your participant guide. As always, you can reach out to us too. We'd love to help. You can also use the question mark icon in command to find answers and tips as well. And that's going to be, I don't know if you can see my cursor on this shared screen. It's going to be right up here, just right of all this. All right, we were at ahas. I'm going to skip over this part. So ahas to achievement. Each day at Ignite, you grow in how you think, feel, and act, and implement what you've learned. From learning and ahas, you move towards the achievement of your big life. And that's what we're all here for, right? To achieve big goals. So again, we're going to go ahead, challenge you to, based on the sessions we've had, kind of assess these questions. We're going to go ahead and jump into, I think, the success systems next. I'll give you a brief prompt on that, and we'll go ahead and break from here. But yeah, take time to reflect on what you've learned. It's important in building confidence and celebrating your growth. And we'll do this activity after each session. And for now, we're going to go ahead and move on to the success systems. So for the next 2 hours, we'll work together on our success system, which consists of 20 minutes role play with a partner, I don't care if you do it on the phone with the new chat GPTs. I don't care if you do it with a spouse and they can throw objections at you. Top agents practice every day. We're going to do 10 minutes of preparing a call list for your day. Another system the top agents use to send time. Get a list, make sure it's clear, and that's going to be your starting basis. Once you have a list, you start, you call without hesitation. Excuse me. So we've got 20 minutes, 10 minutes. We've got 45 minutes of real play. That's role play in the real world. Making contacts, having conversations with as many people as possible with the goal of establishing and nurturing valued relationships so that when people are ready to buy and sell, they think of you first. You need to be in that 75%, the first agent who gets interviewed, because we know 3/4 of the time, that's who the client's going to go with. And then lastly, 30 minutes. You're going to spend 30 minutes updating your database with information that you've gathered from your conversations and following up on any promises made. Do this immediately after real play while it's fresh on your mind. I would, from my experience, get the call list together, leave a little section for notes. I don't care if you're gathering a great mailing address that you can send flyers. I don't care if you're promised them a CMA and you're going to send that a week out. Or I don't care if they say, hey, call me back in 2 months. Put that 2 months in there and call back. They're going to be impressed. They're going to be appreciative that you remembered them, that you followed up. These activities are daily habits of success. We practice them every day in Ignite, and you will continue this rhythm for the rest of your career, hopefully. Use the pages in your participant guide. Let's all work together on these activities and support one another. I'm going to go ahead and just give you the prompt, and then we'll sign off. But typically you'll come back into the session after all this is over and kind of unpack your successes, challenges, thoughts on it. Okay. So if we call time on that piece. Oh, excuse me, I'm tired. Let's move into our success system time, keeping in mind that the purpose is to develop your mindset, skills, and tools that you need to build relationships and secure an appointment with potential buyers and sellers. Your daily success system tracker includes 10 conversations with your sphere. I don't care how you do it, calls, texts, whatever, people you may know and people who know you. That's your sphere. 10 contacts added to your database. That's name, phone number, address, hopefully email. That'd be great. And the birthday. And the reason for those 5 is that it gives you an organic way to reach out to them, or an organic reason to reach out to them. And looking like that, you could do lead prospecting if you want to try to get new people in your database. You can wear your name tag in when you're out and about in public, when you're shopping, when you're at kids events, when you're at who knows what, extracurriculars, hobbies, things like that. As long as you strike up the conversation, most people will at least accept your card. They might not give you info, but they'll at least accept your card. 10 handwritten notes. Express gratitude and let people know you're in real estate and appreciate referrals. I get this all the time from agents in our office. They're like, I had a friend and they went with a different agent. They did not know I was a real estate agent. We can't assume that people know you're a real estate agent. You can't either. It needs to be written all over your marketing, social media, however, it needs to be known. You should let people know. It's not a secret, and yet it's not safe for us to assume everybody knows you're in real estate. Utilize the 10-5-1 model for social media engagement. If you're not familiar with that, it's 10-5-1. I'm pretty blank. I think it's 10 comments, 5 likes, 1 post. Might be the other way around. Maybe I'll check that for you. Here we go. 10 comments, 5 messages, 1 post. So leave 10 comments daily, message 5 people, doesn't matter how, and post 1 piece of original content to build relationships and generate business. Again, we take that heavy lifting off of you. If you want a prompt for every day, we'll give you one. We've got it for the entire year. It includes holidays, includes seasonal things. Some of it's market specific, some of it's market neutral. But you will keep accomplishing many of these goals during the success systems time. Keep doing these activities outside of class time or our time together as well. And during the final update, you can write notes and engage in social media as well. All right. And then the first job of a real estate agent is lead generation, because the activity of lead generating is the foundation for your business. In addition, practicing conversations and dialogues will prepare you for success. That is appointments, signed agreements, signed contracts, and sales closed. Of course, before we get involved in conversations with our sphere and lead generation, we must remember the most important thing. Abide by the TCPA and do not call regulations. We review this every night session because it is critical that you must protect yourself and market centers from any legal action. Make this a permanent habit. It's free. You can get online. You can check, see if they're on the do not call or not. You can run phone, or email. Now, the reality is when you're connecting with a contact, it's likely because they know who you are. You're not going to have to do the screening every time. This is more for getting your leads, getting in contact with them, and then moving them to contacts. Right now, I'm not saying you don't have to do it. I'm just saying keep in mind at the point those people become contacts, friends, family, coworkers, past clients, they've already connected with you enough. It's not new news when you're calling. They don't not know who you are. Right. And then again, for our daily affirmation, let's begin by getting our mindset primed for the success systems. We do this every day. I engage in every conversation in a spirit of contribution, and people are happy to be in a relationship with me. Keep in mind, you are the expert. You're the pro. If you truly believe that you're offering great value and services to your client, that's how they're going to perceive it, right? So at this point, we jump into role play. This is the 20 minutes. Then after that, you've got prepare your list. Do actually call through the list, take those for 45 minutes. And most important, while it's top of mind, spend 30 minutes updating that list and updating everything you've got on your contacts in command. I know it's a quick one because it's online. However, I do always appreciate feedback. So if you enjoyed this, if you have thoughts, if you have questions, just scan this QR code. My name's Trystan, spelled right here, and this is Ignite Session 12. I'd love for you to leave me a review. It means a lot to me as I work towards becoming a KWU approved instructor. So at this point, we just celebrate successes. I know you're probably doing this on your own asynchronously. So if you had success that you'd love to share with me, I'd love to hear about it. If you had thoughts, questions, challenges, concerns, please send that to me as well. Right. So again, here's the success systems. If you need help, we can always help, whether it's command or command connect, which is actually this part is kind of outdated. It's just going to be all in here now. So preparing for the next session, you don't want to miss this one. This is qualified potential buyers and sellers with Sheridan Sims. Sheridan runs one of the top teams in our market centers. He's very well esteemed in the local market, and he's one of the best when it comes to qualifying potential buyers and sellers. Be sure not to miss it. And if you can't make it, this should also be recorded and posted on our YouTube, just like this video. Final ahas, and that's all I've got. Thanks everyone for jumping on. Like I said, if you have any additional questions, thoughts, concerns, challenges, or just wins that you'd love to share, love to hear about it. Shoot me an email. Thanks.